All right, well, good afternoon and happy Wednesday Masterclass. We are here for another session with our Legacy Builders community. My name is Aaron Webb. We're going to go and get started with a word of prayer. Today's topic is going to be a topic that is not as prevalent as it should be yet again, but then we're going to actually do some action steps once it's over. So if you would just join me in a word of prayer, we're going to talk about A/B split testing. A/B, not ABC, but actually split testing our campaigns and the importance of trying things and being prepared before we actually launch ourselves into the stratosphere called the online advertising world. So let us pray. Dear God, as always, thank you for another time to fellowship, for another opportunity to add value to the coaches and consultants that are in our group, and that those who may be watching the replay who may just need to know how to leave a legacy in their business. And I thank you that you've given me the skills, the knowledge, and ability to be able to execute presentations like this. I pray that I will continue to be simple and scriptural, if need be, and Christ-centered in this presentation. Though we're going over natural tactics, I pray, God, that there will be someone who comes out of this better than when they came in. And so, Holy Spirit, have your will and have your way throughout this time. In Jesus' name, amen. Y'all, I was fighting the connection like crazy. I know y'all don't care, but that's cool. I was fighting some serious connection. We'll go and get started here with the presentation. I'm going to jump straight into it because the time I know about 10 minutes behind schedule because of the internet, but no worries, I'm always ready. Today's topic, as I mentioned to you, is going over A/B testing, right, or split testing, so that we can be able to optimize our campaigns and our strategies to enhance automation. All right. So this presentation will feature the following. We're going to go through an overview session of what is A/B split testing. What does A/B even stand for? Okay. We're going to learn about that today. We're going to also go over some goals. We're going to actually learn how to effectively split test our campaigns to yield the best results so that we can be able to leave a legacy. Because I don't know about you, preparation is everything. And this is part of that preparation, is to make sure you actually split test your campaign to see if it even works. Is your audience that you did the market research, is it even yielding anything in this first test? So that's the reason why we're going over this today. All right, so let's jump straight into it. What's the pain point? As always in our sessions, we want to address the pain point. So today's pain point is ineffective campaign performance. Yes, I'm going there right now. When it comes to our campaigns, some of our campaigns are not effectively performing as we should. And what takes place in a normal campaign, especially if you're going the Google route or YouTube or Facebook, one thing is in common. One thing is in common. If you don't split test, you will be spending money unnecessarily. I'll say that again. If you do not split test, or if you don't actually test your campaign with an audience and you do more than just one ad set, you're just doing one ad set, and you're thinking, oh, this is going to work just for this one, that's probably why you have an ineffective campaign. And the reason why we struggle with this as business owners or coaches is because we want the results now. We're about all results now. And if we don't get that result, I'm going to go on to the next thing, which actually leads to wasted. You see it there, it leads to wasted resources and missed opportunities. Compared to, let's set up, let's say 4 ads, let's set up maybe 8 ad sets. Let's actually use 4 variations of audiences, right? And not just one audience. Because remember, we talked about defining your perfect client a whole while ago. We actually have to make sure we split test and we advertise to maybe certain segments within that audience and not just those who are 35 and 60. Let's actually advertise to the 35 and 60 who are in this niche. Let's advertise in this next ad to the 35 and 60 that's in this niche during this period of time of the day. We got to split test, and that's the reason why we need to have effective campaigns, because if not, we're going to be wasting time, we're going to be wasting resources. And when it comes to data, we know data is oil. When you implement A/B testing optimization strategies, guess what? They improve your campaign dramatically, right? They improve your campaign dramatically. And just taking care of something real quick. Let me just take care of this 1 second. All right. Second here, everybody. I was trying to look up something as far as the A/B split testing so we can be able to get that done. So when it comes to data, our data is going to tell the story. And I'm talking now beyond just collecting the email addresses, the phone numbers, and the names. I'm actually talking about real live data of that back office of your ad, right? So if you're split testing, and split testing is not doing it for a day, not even for a week. A good split test is really between 2 and 3 weeks. And the reason why is because, remember, you have different audiences that are online different times of the day. You have attractions and distractions, right? You got the attractions with the media, then you got the distractions with people's opinions. So they're fighting through that, trying to get through so that they can have their full, their full attention on what you're posting. So we want to make sure that we split test effectively to achieve our marketing goals. Okay, so that's the pain point, is we don't want to have any more ineffective advertising. Okay, so what is A/B testing? What is A/B testing? A/B testing involves comparing 2 versions of a web page, email, or an ad to see which one performs better. So in other words, A/B is split testing. Okay? A refers to the control, and B refers to the variation or a new version of the original testing variable. And that's why I wanted to look that up to make sure we all understood why they say A/B. A refers to the control or the original testing variable, where B is the variation or a new version of the original testing variable. So when we split test, we're making sure that our variables are being monitored along with the original of that ad. Remember, I was just saying, if you have an audience and you only want to reach out to those who are 35 and 60, that's the A. B is splitting that up, right? A/B split testing is splitting it up so that you actually target that same group but for a different segment. And then you multiply that towards another segment. It's giving variations based on that original control, right? Now, I'm going back to science class. Some of you all remember those variables, those fixed variables, right? It's very similar. In science, you do what's called what? A hypothesis. If this happens, then that. So really, you're testing that theory to make sure it's true. And you may use different variables so that you can get what end result. So that's exactly what we're doing with A/B testing. We're making sure that our control variant right there of that audience or whatever, what have you, that ad has different variations and not just the one original control segment. Does that all make sense? And I believe this is going to make a difference when it comes to advertising the right way. And you're not just advertising one way, okay? And that's the purpose. We want to make sure that we actually are advertising to the audience so they can resonate with the right one. So if you have 4 different ads, I'll give you an example. If you have 4 different ads and they're out in Facebook, what you want to do is run each one. Let's say you want to only spend, let's make this up, $50 a day. You can split test it by having each one maybe do 15, 15, and 15. And let's say the last one, maybe you want to see how the first 3 go after maybe 1 week, then switch the $15 to that one. If one is yielded, a little bit more, wait till the next week, wait till week 2. And then you can change the dollar amount so that you're still spending that 50, but now you're spending 25 on this one. This one's yielding more and 25 on the next test. That's the purpose. So we want to be able to see what resonates with the audience. We have a mixed bag of people, y'all. We know this. The audiences that we cater to are a mixed bag. You don't know what you're going to get until you actually are able to have them resonate with your message. And that's why the message is so important in your ad. It has to hook people in. It has to be educated. And it has to have some type of call to action. I'm giving y'all the secret sauce when it comes to YouTube video advertising. You got to have a good hook, right? That hook has to be so innovative, so attention grabbing that within that first 5 seconds to 45 seconds, it's like, oh, I'm not hitting skip ad. I'm staying here. He has my attention. She has my attention. And that's the benefit. You'll see higher conversion rates when you split test. That's a big one. That's a big surplus of what it means to split test. Because really, when you're testing an ad, you're seeing if it works. So if you don't split test the right way, you won't see high conversions. And you go back to what we were saying in the other ad, you're actually spending more time and you're wasting resources, and you're not really maximizing the time that you already have by just split testing, right? So that's what that means as far as the A-B. The A is the control, and the B is the variant, so that you can do different variations of that first control group, okay? So how to conquer ineffective campaign performance. So what's the solution? As you know, we go over the pain points. Now we're talking about solutions. So the first solution is we got to identify the variable, right? We got to identify the variable. Is it the headline? Is it the image? Is it the call to action? Which one of those are we going to switch up, and which one are we going to use effectively in our marketing? Because headlines are not created equal. Some headlines may not convert. Some headlines will. Some images may convert. Some images may not. Some videos, for the most part, may convert since it's something moving, and then you have some that's like, oh, I've seen that before. What else you got? So we got to identify what variable we're going to use so that our campaign is successful and it's effective and it's converting the right way, right? So number one, we got to identify the variable, identify exactly what we want to have in that ad that we can actually test so that the market can resonate with it. Number two, we want to create variations. So once you identify, let's say we're using image A. Now we want to create variations of image A. Image A may have someone, if you're doing insurance, and it's making this up, let's say it has the umbrella, someone holding an umbrella and a family of 4. Different variation with that would be maybe a single mother of that same umbrella and just a single mother. Another variation could be a father of 2, and he's in his 50s, wants to be remarried. Same picture, same umbrella, same image in terms of the umbrella with the logo, but different set of people. Those are variations. So we want to create different variations of that original element so we can test it to see if it works. Now, number 3 is what we all want to do, number 1. We want to run it. You can't run the test if you don't identify the variables, if you don't know the variations. So that's why we want to do that first, because then when you run it, right, you got to make sure that you set the right budget. Whenever you run an ad, you want to always make sure that you set the right budget, because you don't want to spend $50 on a split test if you're not expecting to get X result, right? Because they show you exactly, if you spend 50, this is the amount of leads that you can expect, or clicks if you want to do it that way. You're just trying to just get some engagement, and I recommend that. If you're just trying to get some traffic and you want to get some clicks, start off doing that first. There's nothing wrong with getting clicks, but then after some clicks, then you can see, okay, I got a lot of clicks on that ad. Let me actually change this from clicks to leads, because they got clicks. Most likely, if you convert the right way, you're going to get leads. So that's how we run the test. Then you want to analyze the results. This is my lane right here. This is what we specialize in as a growth partner. We're able to see what worked and what didn't. We want to trim that fat, y'all. Whatever worked, if one ad got 20 leads, and the other one got -5, no, I'm joking. If it got 0, which one are we using? We're using the first one that got 20 leads. Why? Because we analyzed the results. We were able to see which one worked effectively. There was a higher conversion rate. Let's say out of those 20 leads, let's say it booked 5 appointments. That worked. Success. All because we split tested the ad. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure we're split testing the ad. I'll give you an example. And I know we're on number 4 for a reason. If you got a car and you purchased your first car, right? And let's say that car was brand spanking new. It wasn't a used one, it was a brand spanking new car. You're not just going to just swipe your credit card and just, okay, that's it, without what? Inspecting it, test driving it. What are the conditions, right? I'm talking about someone who really wants to make sure they invest in this vehicle. Because if you don't do those 3 things, and this is, another host of different things you want to check. If you don't do that, and you drive off the lot and you sign on the dotted lines, guess what? It's yours now, and if things start falling apart, that's on you. It's not on the dealership, it's actually on you. Because you didn't do the due diligence. And I know we're like, man, I'm going to sue that dealership because they did me wrong. That's on you for not inspecting, for not doing a test drive, because those things would have came up when you were test driving that vehicle. And that's what I'm sharing with us today. To run an effective campaign, it's important to test what we're advertising. Analyze those results, y'all. Because then at the end of the day, number 5, we'll be able to do what? We'll be able to see exactly what is the best version to use. If that's working, guess what? We're going to pour right back into that ad spend, and we're going to get it done, and we're going to yield more results. And that's exactly what we want. We want results. We're about real-time results. So that's the part about conquering ineffective campaign performance. Let me get a sip of water here. And we are almost finished. Keep these short and sweet. When it comes to split testing, how does this lead to building a legacy, right? When it comes to building a legacy, you can't say legacy without talking about growth, right? As a growth partner, when we split test, when we go through these procedures when it comes to advertising, right? We're in quarter 2 of this concept when it comes to advertising. We want to make sure that our advertising is effective and that it's consistent, right? We want to make sure that our ads are growing over a period of time. Because you do know if you're advertising, you're split testing effectively, you can actually save money on ads. You don't have to spend, let's say if you're spending $1,000 a month. If you're advertising effectively, you can cut that down to $500. That $500 can go towards something else to help you leave a legacy. Getting an assistant, right? Opening up a new office, or putting a down payment on a software that you need to have developed so you can continue to track your data. So we want to make sure we're sustaining growth and that we're advertising effectively, because that's how you leave a legacy, right? You're able to see those decisions being made quicker. When you have good data, you're able to make decisions quickly, right? Because in real time, that person who's submitting their email information and their phone number, they're going through your funnel. So you have to guide them through the process. So if you want certain data, you got to make sure it's seen and it's visible. You can't just assume, oh, they came to my funnel and they should have put that in. No. Did you tell them we need to make sure that this is for this type of business owner with this type of problem, with this type of situation? We want you. Is that clear and identified? If not, you're not going to have an effective campaign. You definitely won't be able to leave a legacy, because leaving a legacy is not just leaving a good name, right? It's also leaving a good brand. It's also leaving room for growth, for improvement for the next person that's taking on that project, right? And then we get to trust. Then we come to trust. With that split testing, there has to be some trust there. I know you're thinking, how does split testing and trust go together? Easy. When you actually split test an ad, you're trusting that the result that you got is going to yield more results, right? So that client that you're working with, let's say if you're a life coach and you're working with someone who needs help with leadership, right? You're trusting that when they saw your ad, that it was conveyed enough that you're looking to show and demonstrate leadership strategies. And then when they come into your system and you're doing your appointments, your breakout sessions, however you do it, now there was trust because you split tested the right way. You got the right person from the ad. It wasn't a no-show. Because how many of us like no-shows? None of us. Don't raise your hand. None of us like no-show appointments. So you want to be able to make sure that your advertising is showing trust, that you're not false advertising your message. Right? And I already talked about leadership. And that's what we want to do. And I talked about this in the last call I had with the Business Growth Blueprint. Again, I want to do a plug for the Business Growth Blueprint. Very good presentation that was done today. I was able to have the opportunity to speak on what automation is not. And when it comes to leadership, automation is not the all-in-one solution. You are. You're the leader. You're the market leader. You got to set the standard. That's how you leave a legacy, right? The split testing is just a method so that you can get better results. But at the end of the day, you're the one that's leaving the legacy. And so how to help that is by really making sure that your campaigns are building trust and that you're growing sustainable, in a sustainable way. Because how many of us know too, what worked as an ad last year probably is not working this year. You may need to make some adjustments and go and just do it. Don't even think about it. If you know for sure that you haven't advertised nothing different than you did in 2023, you're still doing the same thing. Now, if it's worked, that's fine, but there's still room for improvement of optimizing it. And maybe you need to do a different area. Split testing, right? So that's what I'm referring to in terms of leaving a legacy. We got to make sure that our ads and our advertising and what we do matters. It all matters. In conclusion, Effective split testing campaigns, as we talked about today, we want to test one element at a time. I think this is a good summary of what we talked about. We want to make sure that we test one element at a time, right? Test out a single variable. Notice I didn't say do 10 different split tests. No, you can just do 2, do 4. You don't have to do 10 to start. If you want to, that's fine. That's more if you got the money to do it. But you can just do 1 at a time. Do 2 ag groups. Don't do 4, just do 2. Okay? We want to make sure that the significance of the results matter exactly with your vision. If you had a goal in mind to reach 100 people and get 100 leads, okay, you got to do some split testing for that. Is that even possible? Are you running it for a long period of time to even get 100 people, right? Use the right tools, right? You got tools like Google Optimize, right? You got other tools in Facebook that you can have with the pixels. Get your pixels together so you can actually use those tools to track data so that when you split test and you're seeing who's coming in, you can actually know, okay, that's working. That's really good. Let me change the image and do another variable and see if this image will, because this one with the young lady, the single mom, worked better than the one with the single father who had 2 children. No problem. So guess what? You just narrowed down your audience. That's what we want to do. Number 4, keep detailed records of what works and what doesn't, right? Stats and numbers don't lie. So make sure that when you do your reports, that you mention in your reports, okay, this worked from June to July of my audience. I want to make sure that I'm targeting them again and maybe do a different variation next month. Because guess what? June, the beginning of June, has a different flavor of environment versus July. June is vacation month. July is what? Fireworks. You got July 4th. You got people who are spending time, they're trying to come back into the workflow before what? School. So all those things matter when it comes to data in your audience. And last but not least, we want to constantly and continuously refine our efforts. Nothing's perfect, right? Nothing is perfect in this automation marketing world. We got to constantly optimize, we got to improve. And if it works today, great. It may not work tomorrow. You may need to do some testing, you may need to split test. And even with that split test, when you do find the results, make sure that you stay on top of it and that you monitor it, because at the end of the day, we're trying to leave legacies. We're building, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this session. We're right at 30 minutes. Hope you had some fun. This replay will be up as soon as possible. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you next time on the Legacy Builders Community. Bye-bye.